My name is Christina.
My name is Mandy.
Welcome to Zen Zestful. What are we talking about today, Mandy?
Okay, so like we keep harping about how, yoga is not just about the physical. It's not just about the asanas. It's not just about the poses, and, Western culture's hijacked. Let's turn to yoga American.
Yes.
Like it does with all things my people, right? Turmeric.
Indeed.
Amla oil.
Probably sandalwood also.
Spirituality, anything.
Everything.
Saris.
Yes.
What else?
I do love saris.
Chicken curry.
Chicken curry.
Butter chicken. Chai latte.
Chai latte. Perhaps the best example.
Ashwagandha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's more so if you're in the wellness space, though, because I said something about ashwagandha to somebody the other day, because of course I did. And I'm like, what's ashwagandha?
Okay, so wellness people. Ashwagandha. But I feel like every few years it's like there was quinoa, matcha is now a thing. Everything is matcha. I guess we royally fucked Bhutan when we took all their quinoa. So now we're done with the quinoa. Mm. We've moved on to other things. But anyway, that was...
all of that aside.
There's not a lot of talk on the sutras of yoga. So sutras of, I think it was like in episode 2 or whatever, we were talking about Patanjali very briefly. And Patanjali, you can talk about him, you could, multiple episodes just talking about Patanjali, but he created the sutras, which basically literally translates to the thread. Sutra is thread. So he has a book of sutras of the basically breaking down yoga for you to understand what yoga is.
I was going to say, something that I think is really cool about the sutras is that it has no mention of religiosity anywhere.
It's like a how-to book.
It's a how-to book. And it really is a how-to book, but it's not a religious document.
How-to yoga.
It's how-to yoga. Yeah. And there's mention, of course, of spirituality, but it's not even spirituality, I would say, in the sense of how to put woo-woo on a scale.
It's not woo-woo spirituality.
Yeah, it's not woo-woo spirituality. No. It's not you're praying to God through your body. It's
no, it's here's how you get your shit together.
Yeah.
How to get your shit together in the human experience.
Yes. We go.
We just made that up.
I like it though, but that's what it is. That's actually a fantastic, concise way of putting it. And I think the sutras are so slept on. And I'm in the algorithm right now on Instagram where I keep getting people explaining the sutras, and I really like it. I hope other people are also getting that algorithm, because it just is not even interesting in the yoga context. It's interesting just in a human context.
As life.
Yeah, as life.
So the first sutra is just, now we begin yoga.
Yeah.
Second, Sutra 1.2 is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha.
I actually really like it. It flows so beautifully.
It does, especially the way you say it.
Fuck off. I think I did great. At least I can roll my R's.
You did. People are gonna okay. I just want it to be known. I don't shit on you when I say this. It's just I love it. I love your approach, and I love that you actually use Sanskrit when you're speaking about it and not just glossing over.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, and I wish more people did that. But Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, basically breaking it down, it's the Sutra 1.2, and all the other sutras basically flow out of this one and creates this kind of the segue into the rest of the path. Yep. So when you break this down...
It's a definition.
I wrote it down so I don't fuck it up, because someone's going to come after me.
And we have different definitions as well. So something to note too, if you're buying a Yoga Sutra book, first of all, make sure you're getting the translation.
Yeah.
You should just always have that. Not just the translation, but also text on what it actually means. And all of the translations are going to be slightly different. And that's why my translation is different than yours, but it's the same idea, obviously. But I just think it's interesting the words that people use.
Yours had bigger words in it.
Yeah.
But mine, basically, Patanjali says that the goal of yoga is the restraint of the modifications of the mind stuff. And then you have to kind of do a bit of a deep dive into what that means.
Yeah.
And Chitta is your mind. But Chitta has multiple levels to it. So the first one being Ahamkara in Punjabi and in Sikhism, that's your Ahankara, which is your ego, which is the I. So that's like the base level. You need an I. And from that level 2 is your intellect, which in Sanskrit is your buddhi. So without the ego, you don't get the intellect. And then from there, you get Manas.
Manas, that's it.
So manas is your desires through your senses to the outside world. So that's what creates your attachment to everything around you. Now the goal, what ends up happening is through those 3 levels is how we create the story of what our mind is perceiving.
Yeah.
And so what Patanjali says is that Chitta Vrittis are the modifications of the mind stuff, and that's what disturbs your peace.
Yeah.
Because without that, you're just in a calm state. There's nothing to kind of distort your view or your perception of the reality around you.
Yeah. And to add really quickly as well, the definition in my book is yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of your mind.
Okay.
So, it's the same thread,
Right.
but I just say that too for people so that, if you have one definition rather than the other that makes more sense in your head, then
Yeah.
hopefully that helps as we describe this.
So he basically goes on to say, the entire outside world and your external reality is based off of your mind, your thoughts, and your mental attitude. So it's not so much that the world around you sucks. Your view and the attitude towards the world around you sucks. And that's not to say that bad shit's not happening to people.
Yeah.
But in a sense, you're responsible for creating your heaven and your hell based off of your approach that you take to life through your thoughts and your mind and how it's perceiving the reality around you.
Yeah.
So that, like, when you look at, the things that kind of send people off, their attachments to how they think something should be.
Yeah.
How some XYZ is unfair. This is unjust. This is not right, because they perceive it that way.
Yeah. And in the sutras, Patanjali is trying to cease suffering by encouraging detachment. And the way that he really goes about describing this, yoga is the goal, but it's the tool in order to do that. And when you're detaching yourself, you're not like removing yourself from caring.
Right.
You're still very much human. And I think that's something that I really like about this whole idea of his, is that like he's acknowledging the humanity in every person, because everybody is suffering in their own way. Suffering is a collective human experience, but it's how are you suffering and can you do something to mitigate that?
Yeah.
And in his whole process too, like the sutras as a whole, but when you look at his 8 limbs of yoga within the sutras, you're starting from the outside, the big picture, and you're slowly narrowing in to your inward self and to the universe, where you're finding that sense of connection and that sense of yoga.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do we have to start big and look at our like day to day, what is in front of our face, like the yamas and the niyamas, to just slowly, how do we then start picking apart our lives and get a little bit more intentional, I guess, with
your approach to life.
With your approach, yeah.
So in this first sutra, he basically talks about how you control your mind, you control everything around you, which is kind of super fascinating, because this is Patanjali. And don't also, to just reiterate, Patanjali didn't create yoga. Yoga existed way before Patanjali. He basically took what he learned from the Upanishads, the Vedas, and what his understanding of yoga is, and that's what led to the sutras. But when he says, when you control your mind, you control everything around you, what I really find fascinating about that is this guy saying this here. Don't call him a guy. He's very, very profound man, very respectable individual. And there's also discussion around whether it was one person or whether it was multiple people. Was it a source of multiple people? But Buddhism, Sikhism, and Stoicism, as well as several First Nations cultures, all have they echo the same sentiment. You control your mind, you control life. If you conquer your mind, you conquer life. And a lot of this personal development world, the manosphere with the bro, do this, do that, like kind of fucking elevate yourself. It's all about control your mind, conquer your mind. Because when you do conquer your mind and your emotions and your thoughts don't control you and you're aware of them, you're pretty much invincible. What controls you when there's no fear dictating your actions? And that further goes on into the concept of the seer. So Patanjali says the seer abides in his own nature, which basically means that you're the seer. You're not your mind. You're not your body. You are the seer is the one watching the mind and the body.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's like a foreign concept. What the fuck do you mean I'm not my mind and my body? But if you sit back and you actually observe, you are aware you are sad.
Yeah.
You are aware you are stressed. So what is that you that is aware that you are sad and stressed? And then it's not even that layer that you peel back isn't even the seer. The seer is the one behind the one who's aware that they're able to see that they are X, Y, Z.
Totally. You know what? All of what you had just said in this last little bit reminds me of pro athletes and even like Simone Biles. Do you remember in...
Gymnast?
The gymnast. So it wasn't the last Olympics where she absolutely crushed it. It was the one before that where she left because she got I forgot what they call it in gymnastics, where you have no sense of where you are in space when you jump up and anything everywhere.
Spatial awareness?
No, it's not the spinsies. It's some sort of like, I don't know. It's not a scientific term. It's like they have a word for it. But she dropped out of the competition because she had all of this stress and was, not able to compete because she was at such a high risk of injuring herself because she does all of these crazy, everything that she does is crazy.
Right.
but having that pro athlete mentality to be able to get to that level of competition where you do have to shut everything out is crazy, but then impressive in an impressive way. But then when she was able to recognize, almost from that seer perspective, I see that I think she had anxiety about everything. I see that this is the case. I see that I'm at risk of injuring myself. I see that I should not go in this competition. I see that the whole world sees me making these decisions and is judging me or whatever.
And they judge the fuck out of her.
And they judge the fuck out of her.
Yeah.
But I think her whole story is so incredible in terms of being able to distinguish what's going on and be able to see all of the pieces. And I'm sure that wasn't easy, and who knows, it probably wasn't even, all of the pieces weren't super evident to her at the time, but I mean, there's a lot of power in being able to cease the fluctuations of the mind.
Yeah. And one of the things that Patanjali says is your mind creates thoughts, and the thoughts that it creates, it distinguishes the thoughts between desires and thoughts. And then that's how you attach to outcomes. And the attachment to the outcomes is what creates the suffering. So one of the experts...
I laugh because I connect to this personally very well.
Yeah, I think we both do. So Patanjali's book has a lot of people... a lot of people have taken Patanjali's words and reiterated them or tried to, put their own spin on it. So the book that I got, it's the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and it's by Sri Swami Satchidananda.
Yeah.
Didn't butcher his name.
That was a really good job, actually. And this is a really, a popular...
It's a really popular book, especially in the yoga community.
Exactly.
So within it, one of the...
You've got it. You've got it.
A section of...
An excerpt. Maddie's about to read an excerpt. She can't say the word excerpt, so I'll say it for her 5 times. This is a really nice excerpt.
Let me just read it without dying.
Just go for it. You just go for it.
If the water, the mental lake, is muddy or colored, you see yourself as muddy or colored.
Yep.
To see the true reflection, see that water as clean and calm without any ripples. When the mind ceases to create thoughts, forms, or when the chitta is completely free from vrittis, it becomes as clear as a still lake, and you see yourself as your true self. Does that mean that the seer misunderstands itself or has forgotten itself? No, the seer can never misunderstand nor forget itself, but we are talking on the level of the reflection. The reflection is distorted, so the seer appears to be distorted. The true you is always the same, but you appear to be distorted or mixed up with the mind. And by making the mind clean and pure, you feel you have gone back, or you appear to have gone back to your original state. Now, from that, what that leads me to question about not only ourselves, but people we know and, most humans.
Yep.
How you perceive yourself. Is that who you truly are? Or is your perception of yourself based off of the perceptions of the people around you? So now, if you have highly critical parents, okay, and I can speak from growing up in a South Asian house, right? They seek perfection from their children. So naturally, they're going to nitpick your imperfections. So you put your entire self-worth into how your parents are perceiving you. Yeah. And the goal is constantly perfection and striving in productivity, or striving for perfection and constantly striving to be productive, because that is how you measure up to, your parents' approval. So now looking at, let's say you grew up in a neighborhood with a bunch of shitty kids and you have shitty friends and your friends are really mean, or you got bullied, you're going to perceive yourself however it is that those people perceived you, or whatever it is that they projected on you. It's not based in reality.
Yeah.
And it's not factual. And it likely isn't even who you truly are at your core essence.
And I think it depends on the person as to how much of that perception affects you. And the reason I say that is because I have to think of one of my best friends. Her mom, when we were in high school, would always joke around about how I was the amazing Christina, because I've always been an overachiever. So I don't know.
You don't say.
I know. It's shocking.
I heard your dad. I heard your dad at your wedding speech.
Yeah, you did. So every time she would be like, "Oh, what are you up to? Or what have you been up to?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know, whatever I did. I didn't do science fair in high school, but let's say I did. I did in junior high." But I'm like, "Oh, I did this." And she's like, "Of course you did. You're the amazing Christina." And to me, I was like, "Oh, okay." And I liked it because it made me feel like, I guess, I impressed or I inspired others around me, but I don't see myself that way because I'm hard on myself. So in my head, I'm like, "Oh, I'm not doing enough," or "I'm not,
It's never enough.
It's never enough."
No.
But then if somebody makes an offhand comment to me, like in that case, when my friend's mom would say things like that, I'd be like, "Oh, that's nice that somebody thinks I am doing enough." But I don't think I'm doing enough. But it's interesting. And I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on the context as to how much somebody's outside perspective can,
distort their view of themselves.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's just your view of yourself.
Yes.
It's not even your view of the people around you. And a lot of times the other thing too, before I even go into your view of yourself, who you are when you are 12 is not who you are when you are 30. And it's not who you are when you're 40. And it's not who you are when you're 60. If it is, you've just wasted, 50 years of your life trying to be the same person because you're so terrified of evolving.
Totally.
But for the people that constantly are looking to strive and do better and evolve and become better versions of themselves, shedding those layers of the preconceived notions that may have been cast upon you from either others or yourself, that's a battle in itself, right? Because peeling back those layers comes with a lot of pain and really grieving versions of you that you thought you were, but also realizing, hey, maybe the people around me weren't always the best for me, and I didn't see that at the time, and now I do, and now I have to make decisions.
But being honest with yourself is so hard, and I think that's an ongoing process too, because I can tell you that I'm more honest with myself now than I used to be.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I shouldn't be more honest with myself.
Right. And not just that, it's being honest with yourself, I think involves a lot of, you can't go back. Once you're honest with yourself, you have to take action, because what the fuck good is being honest with yourself if you know something and now you just know this thing, but you haven't done anything to change.
That increases your suffering, doesn't it?
Well, 100%. And so now it's like, I know that the person I am with is not good for me, or I know this friend group is not good for me, or I know this job is not good for me, or, family members. Like that's the hardest one, because we're a very tribal species. So to come to terms with the fact that certain family members are actually, not good for your sanity or your health, how am I going to change my, how I show up in this relationship with them? And they might not understand where I'm coming from. So that's going to change the dynamic of this entire relationship, or it's going to cease to exist. Am I going to be okay with this without this person in my life?
Yep.
And it becomes harder when it's a parent or a sibling, right? Or, maybe it's the person you're married to, or maybe it's the job that you're in, which is the hardest, because how am I going to pay my bills?
Yeah, and you spend so much time at work, you're stuck in it.
You think you're stuck in it.
Yes.
And then now it's okay. Am I stuck in it? But okay, let's say I'm stuck in a place of work because I have bills to pay, so I can't quit what I do for a living. How do I shift my narrative around how I show up here?
Yes.
And then when I shift my narrative, it's obviously going to change how I show up, which is going to impact my professional relationships that I have with people. Because maybe I was overworking myself, or, saying yes to every project or whatever the case may be. Once you burn yourself out and you fried your brain, eventually you're like, you have a decision to make. What is good for me and what is not good for me? What is important, and how am I going to plan out my week so that by the end of the week I'm still sane and I haven't lost my shit?
Totally. And it's funny because I was just thinking about how, sometimes we're talking about a roller coaster of how your life has ups and downs, right? And say you're in an up moment, everything is going so well, and it's little things like your coffee tastes better. You feel more relaxed. You're sleeping better.
Coffee is fucking delicious.
I know, the Nut Bar coffee is insanely good.
Cheers to Nut Bar. If you'd like to sponsor us, please DM
please go ahead. We have Nut Bar every time we film. Truly. Yes. I find, like, if I'm waking up and I'm in a good mood, everything is just better. Even the little things. And I'll notice little things more. But maybe you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe you're going through a rough week.
A year,
whatever, a decade, whatever it may be. Everything, it feels like things are out to get you sometimes, right?
But there's a lot of people that live their life.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And like, when I know for sure when I was younger, I would think things are like out to get me and out to make my life hard. And I'm sure that there's many things that I can see why I thought that way for a while. But I was only increasing my own suffering by feeling like I was a victim of my surroundings.
Right.
I'm not saying I lived my whole life like that
No.
up to this point, but I definitely remember points in my life where it was like that. But I was creating my own suffering by not being aware of how I was feeling and perhaps why I was feeling that way, or I wasn't removing myself from the situation, so I didn't have that perspective. I was so in it that I'm like, oh, how I feel is actually what is real.
Because your feelings are real.
Because my feelings are real.
But we run into that in society where now especially, your feelings are valid.
And they are valid. It's just
but
like,
they're not real all the time.
Feelings are not permanent. And that's the thing that I think everybody forgets. And I say that to myself if I'm upset, because of course, we're humans. We're going to get mad. It doesn't matter if you practice yoga. You'll get mad. You'll get sad. You'll get super happy. And that's also the thing with Patanjali too. Even happiness, you're not aiming for happiness.
Flux.
You're aiming for detachment of being in these emotions, right?
And back to your point though about the feelings being valid and not being valid or whatever, right? Feelings, like, we latch on to the positive feel-good feelings. So
that dopamine hit.
Dopamine hit feelings. Happiness, joy, love, orgasms, fucking food cravings. Like, I filled in, I had a craving for fucking pizza. I ate a pizza, best moment of my life. And now I'm sustained for the next 2 hours, right? We latch on to those and we want to hold on to those. And they don't last because feelings are fleeting and everything is always in a state of flux. So when you know that you can't always be happy, why is it that when you are sad or depressed or angry or anxious, we don't think of that as the same way? We think of doom and gloom and, oh my God, I'm, holding on to this feeling of anxiety, not realizing that's not going to be there forever. Just like the happiness isn't there forever, the anxiety can't be there forever.
Yeah.
And there's a book, I think it's in The Body Keeps Score. I might be getting the books wrong because there's so many books, but if you allow yourself to feel a feeling, especially if it's a negative feeling, like truly allow yourself to feel it, it takes about 90 seconds for that feeling to flow through your body and leave. So let's say you're feeling sadness and something has made you really sad or really angry. If you let yourself just be sad and actually feel the emotion of sadness, generally it's about 90 seconds. And then it goes through, you feel it, and then it goes wherever it goes.
Right.
And then it might come back again, and it might come back again, and might come back again. But that initial feeling that you feel is only about 90 seconds. But what people generally tend to do is they suppress it. They don't allow themselves to feel it. And then they create this state of like anxiousness of like, oh my God, I'm fucking sad. And oh my God, I'm so stressed out. And oh my God, I'm angry. And then you start to live in the emotion. And then that emotion becomes your reality.
Right.
And then it goes back to what you're saying is the world is out to get me.
Yeah.
And it's not even so much the world is out to get you. It's life is out to get me.
Yeah. 100%.
And if you live your life thinking that your own existence is out to get you, bro, where are you going to go? Like
100%.
you're in a battle with yourself is who you're in a battle. You're not in a battle with your mom or your dad. You're in a battle with the fact that you exist.
Yeah.
I think. I might be wrong. I don't know. I just made this up right now.
I like it. No, I was actually, it's funny when you said that, I was thinking about that in the context of my allergies, because
in that case, life is out to get you.
Yeah, it is, because your body is fighting itself.
Yeah.
And I often think about my allergies and how it affects just my mentality and how I think, because I think it affects me in ways that I don't even realize. My body and my brain are like, wait a second, what the fuck, right? Because but it feels like it's fighting me because I'm still my body.
Right.
So it's like, it's a weird...
But according to this guy, you're the seer.
Indeed. Well, I was also told in India, it was so funny. I was told, I was at this smoothie bowl place with some friends, and it was like, it's in Rishikesh. So it's like vegan, and it was kind of hippy dippy. The guy who owned it was like, he had dreads piled high. It was just like...
Was he like a spiritual bro?
Oh yeah, of course.
We love a good spiritual fuckboy. They're hilarious.
Vibing. And I'm like, hey, like I have allergies, but he's like, come here. He's like, you stand with me. We'll stand here and I'll show you how we make it. And then I'm just standing, he's at his smoothie bowl counter. We're making my smoothie bowl together. And he's like, if you're worried about your allergies, you're gonna have an allergy attack. He's like, if you calm down a little bit, it's gonna be fine. And I'm like, you know what? Like, scientifically, no, but he actually has a point.
Science doesn't apply in Rishikesh.
No, it actually doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It's its own world.
Many people will agree with me on that.
100%.
But
I've never been, and I'm telling you this.
Rishikesh is magical, man. But I mean, he's absolutely correct in the sense of like anxiety around allergies, for sure. Because if I'm panicking about something, like I will have a panic attack.
In our world, we call it reasonable probable grounds.
You're absolutely correct. Yes.
I have reasonable probable grounds to believe that you might kill me when you cross-contaminate that shit.
100%.
Because it's happened to me before.
Yeah, exactly. And I do have reasonable probable grounds. At the same time, I'm not going to tell the smoothie guy.
RPG.
I'm just like, I'm obviously watching to make sure it's all good. And it was very safe for me. It was 100% vegan, not a peanut in sight. And I appreciated his chill vibes towards it. Because like if you're approaching things with like, oh my God, this can go terribly. Like, obviously be cautious. Obviously, if you have allergies, be cautious. I'm not saying throw that out the window. I have to be cautious.
Right.
But if you're living in a state of like fear
all the time,
you're not going to be able to actually have that seer perspective and take the step back.
You actually can't, because what you've done is create like this rigidity within your body. and you're on edge and you're just waiting for the shoe to drop all the
100%.
time. And I think people, not just with allergies, people do that in all facets of life.
Absolutely.
I'll use relationships as an example.
Yep.
If you, let's say you were a teenager, you date somebody, they cheat on you, and all of a sudden now everybody's a cheater, right?
Yep.
Now you got trust issues. Now every relationship you go into, you're just waiting for that shoe to drop. With every person that you date, it's like, when's it going to happen? When are they going to cheat? And you start turning into like that anxious, like what is that book? Attached. So it talks about different...
I haven't read it, but I know of it.
It's got a point. It's got a valid point. I think it's a good book, but it talks about different attachment styles and where they come from, right? So you've got your anxious attachment, your avoidant attachment, your secure attachment, and then you've got like your dismissive avoidant and all these like crisscross attachment styles. But it's because either of your upbringing or something's happened to you or some kind of trauma that you faced in your life that, impacts the way you show up in relationships. And when you create that rigidity within you, in your mind, around, how you perceive people, it's like you're creating that reality without even knowing you're creating that reality, because if you are super anxious and you end up with someone who maybe isn't out to get you. Yeah. You've just self-sabotaged that relationship because, 100%. Well, I need to go through your phone. Yeah. Who are you talking to? Who are you texting? Yeah. Who was that? Why'd she say hi to you? Why is she talking to you? And then you've created why the fuck do I want to be with this fucking lunatic, right? But you don't even realize, and then obviously the person's going to leave, and you've created that reality by your own doing. And then world's out to get me. 100%. All men or women, everybody sucks, right? Yeah. But we do this unconsciously. And that's, going back to our attachments to the stories that we create, times that we create our own suffering. Yeah. Based off of the perceptions of the reality around us. And it distorts our entire view because now you've attached yourself to an outcome that actually might not happen.
I have a story as well.
Let's hear your story.
This. So I was thinking about all of this in the way of overachieving. Okay. Because I'm an overachiever, recovering, and semi. And when I have many...
I wonder if there's a group for that.
There has to be.
There's a group for everything.
There really is. Yoga's really helped, though.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
100%. And actually, sorry, I'll start off with this. Yoga, as we have mentioned in other episodes, is not about the achievement of poses, right? But myself included and students I have for me, I was very attached to the outcome of poses for a while, but when I was more focused on asana, and same with people who come to studio classes.
Great way to get injured.
100%. Yeah. And I never injured myself, but I was just like, there came a point where I was like, I wasn't getting something out of my practice anymore. And it's not that I knew all of the poses. The ones that I practiced often, I knew. And I'm like, yeah, I've got this. Like, what's next? What's next? It was this overachiever sense of like needing more and needing to be fantastic at it. Yeah.
Which by whose standards, though?
Well, exactly, by my standards.
But what is great? Like, when is it enough?
Well, that's the thing. It's not like I was doing handstands at that time. But
okay, as someone listening to this story and about to interrupt your story.
Yes.
Let's say you get this greatness.
Yeah.
Then what?
Well, exactly. And that's almost the point I felt like I was at, because the studio classes I was taking, I got to a point where like I wasn't feeling like they were hard enough for me, and I was bored. I was still going. I was enjoying it, but I was like kind of bored because I'm like, well, what's next? What's next? And logically, like doing more, inversions would have been next and stuff. But I was like so in my head about like, this isn't like, giving me what I needed to give me now, right? But that was completely a reality that I created on my own. And then, I learned that yoga's not about asana, just about asana and whatever. Yeah. And, that's a whole thing. But I think there's just many ways in our lives that we create realities like that. And the story that I was initially going to lead with. So I have my master's. When I applied to my master's, my top school was U of T. Mm-hmm. I got into it. Not only did I get into it, but I got a full scholarship to be in this program, which is a huge deal. Not everybody got that. And I was like, wow, I got my top school. I applied to a whole bunch, but got my top choice. I'm moving to Toronto, 'cause I'm from Edmonton. That was, what I wanted to do. And I don't have to pay my tuition because it's covered.
Yeah.
Like, that was a huge deal. And I'm like, yes, I have achieved, you know what I mean? I'm going to do my master's. It's exactly how I want to do it. And that was an amazing accomplishment. And I don't take that away from myself. But after I was done my master's, or even during, I was like, okay, what kind of job am I going to get? Right? Because at the end of the day, you're going to graduate and then you need a job afterwards. And so initially I'm like, it's all going to be fine. I'm doing my master's. That's great. It's like I'm a step ahead of people.
You don't think about what comes after your master's.
I was and I wasn't, because my master's was so busy. It was like a 1-year condensed program. But like, there's a certain point where I kind of had to deceive myself. I'm like, it's all going to work out. It's fine. But then I got to the end of my program and I didn't have a job lined up because I had applied to stuff, but nothing had really come through. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And then
didn't think this part.
Well, yeah. And now like here I am in Toronto with paying rent out the fucking ass, and I have no job. And it was super depressing for me because I came from this high of like achieving a dream. And like, even I was working with somebody whose research I had read all through undergrad. I did a directed reading with her. So I worked one-on-one with her. Like, I really achieved this dream I had. But then right after, I'm like, fuck. Now I'm like way at the bottom. Like, I've hit rock bottom. I don't know what's next. Nothing is clear. So I went to work at Urban Outfitters.
Shout out to Urban Outfitters.
Shout out, yeah. I wasn't
Shout out
there
to
for
retail for always being that safety net.
Always. And I wasn't there for, a super long time, but it took me, I think it was a year. It was a year before I got a job that was actually in the world of what I went to school for and what we're in. But it was a humbling year, man. And I had to, because I had this whole story of being very successful in my head, and then I was very faced with reality,
But I now like perspective, right? When there's something to the peaks and valleys of life. Mm-hmm. And I think before you're elevated to the next level in life, you have to be brought down to go back up a notch to the next level.
Yeah.
And now when you take success and you hand it to someone in their 20s without them having to really enjoy the fruits of their labor, you're not going to have an appreciation for that success.
Yeah.
And if everything is constantly working out for you all the time, you're never really going to learn, not so much learn. It gives you a different type of grit.
it does.
When you have to work that much harder to achieve something you want, or when you're in that unknown space.
Yeah.
In my 20s, I hated being in those spaces because I didn't have the tools to navigate it. So you just create a deeper hole, right?
Yeah.
But I would say now in my 30s, like, I almost look forward to those uncomfortable moments because they force me to really go within and look for a different perspective. And then when I find that different perspective and I action it, I'm like, oh, fuck, like, this is actually way better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And just going back to your point, your attachment was to an achievement.
Yeah.
People attach to relationships, or not just relationships. They attach their happiness to other people's perceptions.
Yeah. Or material goods.
Material goods. So, and I'll talk about and I think Instagram, YouTube, like social media has been horrendous for this, because what they've done is shown the youth of tomorrow and people that when you achieve success, the first thing you need to do is go out and get that Lamborghini or that Ferrari or that giant mansion, or rent out like a massive Airbnb somewhere in LA or whatever it is that you need to do. In my community, in the Indian community, when you get like marriage, for example, there is so much emphasis on this wedding day, right? And it's like keeping up with the Joneses. And me and my friends laugh about it all the time. So it's like, oh, you had a floor wrap at your wedding? Like, I got to get a waterfall on my dance floor, right? Like, because I need my wedding day to be better than the next guys and the next guys. And it's like you're taking out a loan for an 8-hour party, right? Times 4 days. Yes. And then what, are you like happier? Because like 2 months later, you two can't stand each other. And a year later, you're probably going to get divorced. And I was actually, and I like, it's not a joke, because I was actually at this wedding that was featured in this magazine. And it was like a $1 million wedding.
Crazy.
Insanity. And people still found things to nitpick about this wedding. And the couple got divorced like a year later, which was like, holy shit, $1 million. Like you could have done so much with that money. But people will always find something flawed or something to nitpick in your achievements. So if the entire, like, if the grounds for your happiness are based in other people's opinions and their perceptions of you, you will never attain happiness.
No, because, and also people's impressions of you are going to change. They're also going to be not based on your internal reality. So
they don't live in your life.
No. So imagine all of these things being put on you by people that don't actually matter and their thoughts that don't actually matter because they're not even rooted in reality. And then you're taking that in to be true.
But why do I want to dictate my life off of someone's perception who I may not even really respect?
Absolutely.
And even if I do respect them.
Yeah.
And like, see, and I do wonder, like, if this ever turns around, if like the pendulum always swings, does this ever come to some space of normalcy because we have reached this almost, I would say, peak state of needing others' approvals. And we see it like, you know, like the plastic surgery world, right? Everybody's a clone of everybody else. Right? Like everybody, like, okay, we had the Botox with the lip fillers, with the boob jobs, we had the eyebrows.
We still have lip fillers. Everybody has lip fillers still.
You and I don't have lip fillers.
No, we don't.
These are natural.
They're not natural. I love cosmetic acupuncture. It's my favorite thing ever.
Shout out to
Amrit Singh.
Wellness with Amrit.
She is the best.
Cosmetic acupuncture.
And no shame as well to people that do that. Like, no, there absolutely no shame.
There isn't.
But it's just
if
like
it makes you feel good.
Yeah, it's a standard that has kind of been set. Well, it has been set and is accepted.
But how far down do you go? Because like I'm notorious for, like, every time I look in the mirror, I see a flaw, and then I see another flaw, then I see another flaw.
It's a human experience to feel that way.
All I see is flaws.
Yeah.
And then if I fix a flaw, well, now I notice another flaw, and I need to fix that flaw. Well, now I need to fix this flaw.
Yeah.
By the time I'm done, not that like I've done too much to this, but like by the time I'm done, I don't even look like me. And the people whose approval I'm looking for would be looking for, I'm not looking for really anyone's approval, but like if I was looking for someone's approval, let's say I got it. Well, now what?
Well, look at all the women who, like the famous people who are having their fillers dissolved, like Black China. I forget what her real name is that she's now going by.
Kylie Jenner.
Is she having her stuff dissolved?
Apparently.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Black China, you should look at before and after photos. Different face, different person. But she's talked about how it's just like, it's exactly what you were saying. Like, you see one thing, you fix it.
It's an addiction,
see another
though.
thing, you fix it. It is.
It is an addiction.
It is.
Because it's your addiction to vanity.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to be vain. Like I will be the first one to admit I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I wouldn't say it's an addiction to vanity. I would like to look good because I would like to feel good.
Yeah.
So, and then also to add another layer to that, if you're raised with like a critical mother or critical like female family members that like nitpick flaws, which is, in the Indian community, like the first thing they comment on is your weight.
Yes.
Like, fuck your health, fuck your achievements. It's like, oh, you got fat, or oh, you got skinny, or all they do is critique your weight. So, and all they do is talk about their own weight, right? So if that's the groundwork to start your life, you are 100% going to fixate on that every time you look, and you're always going to be looking to either fix it, or it's going to, get into your psyche to the extent where like you eat your feelings. Now you're on the other end of the health spectrum, right? And body dysmorphia is huge in our world.
Yeah. Look at all these ways in which the mind fluctuates.
But that's just it. Your attachment to all of these realities, which are not real, because what truly matters. Because, okay, let's say I am the most beautiful woman in the world, and I have all the bells and whistles on this, and I get the approval of whoever it is that I'm looking for. Now, what do I do with that?
Yeah.
What do I do with this approval?
Why does it matter?
But what is it tangible? Can I build something with it?
Yeah.
Can I do? Okay, that's arguable, because then you get sponsorships.
Yes, totally. But
okay, so I have flaws in my own argument.
But no, I recently finished a book. I forget the exact name. It's like Happiness in the Blue Zones.
Okay.
By Dan Wetner, something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. He does all the blue zone stuff. He came up with the concept of the blue zones, which are
Is it the Netflix documentary guy?
I haven't watched it, but
Okay.
it must be him because
Okay.
he coined the whole thing. But the blue zones are where people have the happiest, longest lives.
Yep.
I know you know exactly what it is. I'm explaining for the people that may or may not know. But anyways, one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing, is having at least 6 hours of socialization with people, like meaningful socialization a day. Community. But it's not just having that community, it's engaging in it. And that is the biggest thing.
Selflessly.
Yeah, that is the biggest thing of like many, there's a list, that will improve your happiness.
Yeah.
So then it doesn't matter how beautiful you are. It doesn't matter if you have the Lamborghini, the whatever. It's like, how are you participating in your community? Are you a part of it?
Human connection.
Yeah, human connection.
We've lost that though, right? Because even when we have human connection, I think it's for social media. I'm involved in this charity, but before I get myself involved in this charity, I need to take 50 pictures to show you that I'm involved in this charity. Or what I see where I work, everything's a photo shoot. Or you go to these community events where it's a photo shoot and not so much about...
See, and it's tough. And I think that's a deeper conversation too, because our world is so digital, there's no getting away from that, at least right now. So I feel like even with yoga, like I have a yoga Instagram, and for me, it's a creative endeavor. It's a way to connect with my students.
It's here to stay.
It's here to stay. So if you want to create a community, like I feel like an online presence is part of that, but it's not the essence of what you are a part, like what you are.
Let me reiterate.
Yeah.
There's a difference between I'm creating an online community to generate awareness about a matter, and I'm trying to build an online community presence to expand my reach to further help people versus, oh, look at me and this thing I just did.
Exactly.
And
big difference.
Look at me and the homeless person I just bought a meal for.
Yeah.
And people will get like, like I've read comments from both sides. Well, if he did it because he's showing you can do it too. Okay, sure. But I think there's something to be said about being selfless and doing something for somebody else with no need for gratification towards you, or even the need to show anybody else that you did something for somebody else.
And I think this all comes back to connection to your own self, which is like what Patanjali is all about, right? It's how do you...
diminish the ripples.
Exactly. Diminish the ripples.
In the water.
Less muddy surface, etc. But like you're coming from this outside world of like all of these fluctuations, all of these myriad of ways that you can suffer. And then you're slowly chiseling away at it to
calmer waters.
And in doing that, you're becoming closer to yourself. You're finding that connection to yourself. You can be honest with yourself.
Right.
You then can be the seer because you understand, having that perspective now, what is going on. Or maybe you don't have the full perspective, but you have an inkling. You have at least a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then, in doing that, you're able to just, I guess, calm the fluctuations of the mind, which is the goal.
The cessations of the...
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny because that definition as well, they used in my 300 hours in India.
Okay.
And I remember it because we had a test that we had to study for. And
etched in your psyche.
Yeah, it is etched in my psyche, and then it's the same one in my book as well. So it's in my head.
Well, that was a lot. So yoga, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yes. Yeah, do some yoga.
Calm the fluctuations of your mind.
I think so to bring it all back home.
Yeah, let's bring it back.
I think it's crucial that we as people are able to, cultivate some time to sit with ourselves throughout the week and ask yourself, how am I showing up in my life? How am I perceiving myself this week or in general? And where are these patterns coming from? Whose voice is in my head? Is it my own voice? And if it's my own voice, why am I so critical of myself? And is this based in reality, or is this based in, a parent's perception, a partner's perception, a sibling's perception? The sibling one is huge because, I'm an only child, so I can't relate to this, but I have friends who have siblings, and I look at, you have a house full of like 2 or 3 siblings. They all have 3 different realities and very different experiences based on how they were treated by their parents and how they perceived each other. So that one is a lot to unravel because that's your entire life.
Yeah.
So asking yourself, is how I perceive myself true? And if it's not true, where is it coming from?
Yeah.
And how do I unfuck this shit?
And you might have to sit with yourself for a bit.
You might cry a little too.
Maybe. And I think it's easy to put self-reflection off. Everybody has very busy lives. It's a lot of work, but I would even challenge everybody to take 5 minutes in a day, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, and just
maybe while you're listening to us.
Maybe while you're listening to us.
Yeah.
Actually, no, because that's distracting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just focus on us.
Focus
only.
on us. That's it, really. But no, and you can just take the time to sit with yourself, and you don't have to be like, okay, how do I unfuck myself immediately? But just be like, how do I feel today? Why do I feel that way?
Where is it coming from?
Where is it coming from? And just have these basic questions, these moments, and try to delve a little bit more into the understanding of yourself. It doesn't have to be you sitting there for an hour meditating to, try and understand some of those questions.
And understanding the layers of your mind. Which one is you? Which one is somebody else's voice? What is your ego?
What's your mood?
And what are your emotions? 100%.
Yeah.
If you found value in this episode and you liked what you heard and you think somebody else might benefit from it, please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.
Bye.